Do ba 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 do do.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Discipline is truly reminding myself of what I can and can't control, and committing my day from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep towards attacking the controllables.
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to work out with Toronto Blue Jays President and CEO Mark Shapiro. Now let me be clear, Mark's a beast, and not just in the gym, though we'll get to that. He's a beast in how he thinks, in how he leads, in how he builds environments where people perform at their best. And what surprised me the most wasn't how hard he trained, it was how simple his principles were. When I was younger, I had a rugby coach who'd repeat the same thing over and over again. Simple things done well. At the time, I figured this is something that coaches say when they didn't have a bit of drill lined up. Looking back, especially after spending time with Mark, I realized that wasn't a lack of sophistication. It was the point.
Slide back. 5 more. You feel it all, or is
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel my glutes. Okay.
as fast as you can?
People love to say hindsight is 20/20, and looking back at the Blue Jays championship run, it's tempting to chalk it up to timing, talent, maybe even a bit of luck.
Swinging a fly ball to left field. Back goes Arozarena. She's gone.
But the more I think about it, the clearer it becomes. That run wasn't luck. It was a system grounded in principles, refined over time, and boring enough to work. High performance doesn't come from intensity, it comes from consistency, and that's true in sport, it's true in business, and it's sure as hell true when you're responsible for building something that has to last.
Bears have led for most of the ball game.
When people look at winning organizations, they tend to focus on the visible moments, the big decisions, the championships, the headlines. What they rarely see is the system underneath, the relationships, the process, and the discipline that compound quietly over time.
I mean, high performance means different things in different contexts to me. I think it is analogous for individuals, not necessarily teams, but individuals, because you'll see them largely doing the same things. Discipline's a big part of that.
There's a popular idea about leadership that great leaders are decisive, that they always know the right move, that success comes from superior judgment in critical moments. But after spending time with Mark, it became clear that this is the wrong mental model.
My perception of leadership 35 years ago, 30 years ago, even 25 years ago, when I started to actually lead people, was I had to be charismatic, I had to be a great decision maker, and I no longer think either of those are at all important. Now it's about nurturing. Probably heard the analogy, it's the gardener versus the chess master. The gardener's thinking about, is the soil fertile? Are the plants being watered? Are the right seeds being put down at the right time? And so my job is to help nurture people, help them be the best they can possibly be, put them in a position to succeed.
Great leaders aren't chess masters, they're gardeners. They don't control every move, they don't force outcomes. They design environments where good decisions happen naturally and where people are set up to do their best work. So I've got a handful of takeaways from my time with Mark, and the first one is environment. A well-designed process will outperform individual brilliance over long periods of time. Not because people aren't talented, but because talent without structure is fragile. The second takeaway is that environment is the foundation. When people look at winning organizations, they tend to focus on the visible moments, the big decisions, the championships, the headlines. What they rarely see is the system underneath, the relationships, the process, and the discipline that compound quietly over time. Not because talent without structure is fragile,
When you separate like the great from the good, either they're very focused and conscious of it, or they're working on it.
Leadership isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about creating conditions where mistakes are survivable, where learning is fast and progress doesn't depend on heroics. The second is the power of relationships. One of the strongest signals of long-term success isn't strategy, it's relationships. No matter how gifted or how driven someone is, success is rarely a solo effort. Strong relationships build trust. Trust enables collaboration, and collaboration compounds into resilience. In organizations that endure, trust isn't a byproduct, it's infrastructure. It determines how fast teams move, how conflict gets resolved, and whether people stay aligned when pressure increases. You can't shortcut it, you have to earn it, slowly, consistently, over time. Another pattern that shows up again and again in high-performance environments is discipline. Not motivation, not intensity. Discipline is what connects goals to outcomes. It shows up on boring days, when there's no applause, when progress is invisible. The last is consistency. The best teams don't rely on a heroic effort. They rely on systems that make consistency unavoidable. In sport, in business, in leadership, the long game always favors those who can perform steadily over time. So what am I saying with all of this? Well, success doesn't come from doing extraordinary things once. It comes from doing ordinary things exceptionally well over a very long period of time. That's how winning organizations are built. That's how trust compounds. And that's how performance becomes durable. High performance isn't about intensity. It's about consistency, discipline, and designing systems that last. All right, that's all I got for you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's go.